Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. My name is Joris and today I'm going to talk about a few sites that I use for doing my ETF research, and this is a video that is meant to be for people from Switzerland and from the rest of Europe. So the site that I'm going to talk about today is the SIX Stock Exchange site, the site from Euronext Stock Exchange, Yahoo Finance, Market Screener, Cash.ch, Just ETF, the Morningstar website, the website of the fund itself, and then of course the index, which the ETF is tracking. So when we look at the SIX Stock Exchange website, I think it's a great site. So you can click on market data and then go to the Share Explorer, Bond Explorer, ETF Explorer, ETPs Explorer. I wouldn't recommend ETPs, but that's another thing. Mutual funds, which are more expensive than ETFs. And as John Bogle already said, you have to look at expenses. So you have cheap mutual funds, but ETFs are most of the time cheaper. So it's easier to immediately follow the ETFs. And you can also look at the different indices here. So it's not only what I'm going to talk about at the end of this video regarding indexes that you need to go to, but you can find the indexes here as well. And now let's go to the ETF Explorer. So there we have the ETF Explorer where you can type in the ISIN code or the valor number or the symbol or the ticker symbol. So even the product provider, and I chose to go for the Amundi MSCI World X Europe UCITS ETF, and that has the code CE8E. It's a non-distributing fund, so it's a different thing that I do than normally, but I did it because most of the funds that distribute dividends I know fairly well. And for this one, I wanted to see what I could find and what is interesting about it. And it's also interesting because I was thinking about making a video about ETFs that invest in Europe. And when you look at those ETFs and you go for one that is really good in investing for ETF stocks, then of course you can add a fund that isn't investing in Europe but still invest in the rest of the world. And then a fund like this, I'm not saying this fund is the only one, but then a fund like this that is investing in the rest of the world, the developed world, this in this case, without Europe is a great choice. So you look it up, you click search, you find this one, and when you open it in a new tab, you get this page. I need to go to here, of course, the overview. This is the first step that you receive, where you can see all the normal day activity of the stock. So momentarily, nothing is being traded of this stock. There is a spread of 1.55, 45 on the price right now, and the 52-week change is up 17.83%, so not a bad performance at all. And then you can also click the chart. So here you can choose the time period. So 6 months is depicted now. So that's a really nice graph. This one is also going up. If you look at the 5 years, of course here that's the drop because of the COVID period, the start of the COVID pandemic. And the max period, because this on the SIX Stock Exchange, it started trading around the beginning of May of 2018. It starts here, the graph. In fact, it started way earlier, around 2009, 2010, the index that it tracks. So That's another thing that we are going to talk about later. But it's really nice that you have the chart here. Also the fund details, so important things, easing code, the symbol, the valor number, important for the tax return. It's passive, it's domiciled in Luxembourg. The fund manager is Amundi, and I think no, I think it's the contacts is PNB Paribas as well mentioned because that's the market maker. So this is the index that it tracks. So MSCI World X Europe, that's the index, and the management fee is 0.35. So that's the total expense ratio, the TER, 0.35. Then you have the order book. So once again, the price for the people that want to buy it and that want to sell it, and the bid volume is the people that want to buy it. So there is a spread of 1 point. How much is it now? 1.75 is momentarily the spread between the two, and it's only one that's being bid for 540. So 540 pieces. So that's probably a market maker because yeah, 540 for a, a person buying it, that's a quite huge number. And you can also see 540 and 540 here. So most of the time that's the market maker that says, okay, I want to sell it or buy it at this price, and I want to sell it at this price. And the difference between, that's the profit that the market maker is making. So the spread, it's 0.30% most of the time. And then the contact, so PNB Paribas, they say it's United Kingdom, but we all know PNB Paribas is from France. And the product provider, Amundi Asset Manager, is also from France. So that's why they work together. But it's all great information that you get from the SIX stock exchange and the fund details. You see here the dividend entitlement, it's yes, and that doesn't mean that it's going to distribute because this one is an accumulating one. It means that it's entitled to receive dividends from the stocks it invests in, but it doesn't necessarily need to distribute them. So you can't go off of this whether or not it's a distributing one. Here you can see the C of the cumulative one. So it's cumulative. So it reinvests the dividends itself. When it would be distributing, there would be a bar here where you can click on expand, and then you would see all the distributions from the past years. And when one is announced, sometimes the announced one is depicted as well. Then on the Euronext website, you come to this page and you can look up all the stocks from the different Euronext stock exchanges on in Europe. When you type in the easing code, so for this one it's the LU number for our ETF that we are looking up. So 168-104-5537, and you get the price for the Euronext Paris one, so CE8 dot. It has a follow-up number. So for the Swiss Stock Exchange it was .e, but for the for the Paris one it's not depicted. But you can see here the normal things as well. Also the order book and the bid and ask price, the historical data. When there is a dividend distributed, you can find those here as well, but this isn't a distributing ETF, so you can't find it. The characteristics, there you can find other general information just like on the SIX stock exchange. So also the total expense ratio, it's completely the same around Europe. And here you can see it's FP for the one from Paris. So yeah, it's basic information that you can find on these websites from the SIX stock exchange and Euronext stock exchange. And then we can go to the Yahoo Finance website. So for American stocks and Canadian stocks and stuff, this site is really great. For UK and European stocks, the site is also okay because you can look up the stocks and you get the basic information, and certainly the price earnings ratio when it's depicted, that's great because you can't hardly find it anywhere else. Without you have to go and look up the earnings yourself first and calculate it yourself. So that's why I like Yahoo Finance. And also American stocks, when there is news about the stock, it's immediately added to the stock. For European ones, it's hardly the case, only for the bigger ones, the bigger companies, they do that, they do it. But for the less known stocks, it's not that common that they add the most recent news. So that's a bit less on Yahoo Finance. But when you look up the ETF that we are looking at today, so the Amundi MSCI World X Europe, and this one is the PA from Paris. So again, when you find it, it's a it's really great. But we weren't able to find anything about this topic, so it's a bit. You can find some data here, but it's not that great. So it's better that you go to the other sites. This graph is great. You can also look up the volume being sold and bought. So it's really great as well. And then one of the lesser sites, but I'm going to mention it anyways because I like this graph. I can't show it now because here it's blocked, so I can't go out of it because I looked up too many stocks already on this site this month. But this graph, it has the trailing average mean of 5 days, 10 days, 20 days, and 50 days. So that's really great that you can look at what the main trend is of the fund. And yeah, from this moment on, it was trading above all the averages, and it's doing great right now. And another thing that I want to mention for this website is that when you subscribe, when you register for the site, you can also go to the recommendations for investing in the different areas. So when you go to Europe, for instance, you will get this page, and when you register, you will see here the different names appear, and with those names you can go and look up everything that you need to know. When you can do it on Market Screener, you can do it there, or you go to other websites and you look up more information there. But I just give it for completeness. Then you have the Cash website. So in Switzerland you have cash.ch. In Belgium you also have a Cash website, that's cash.be. That's going to be in Dutch. So that's my native language, Flemish or Netherlands. So I I really like this website because it contains all the recent news, and it's not reduced to only the Swiss stock market, but it also compromises the US stock market and stuff. So it's really an interesting website to stay yeah to stay informed. And there as well you can you can look at the funds, you can look at ETFs, you can look at stocks. So when you look up our fund, then you can find all the different ETFs here. And I looked up the, yeah, you have two kinds of ETFs here. So you have the etc one and the TradeGate. I know it's 3 and 4. So you also have the Paris one and Stuttgart one as well. So all these are the same one. So you see it's the same VAR number for your tax return, but it's on the different stock markets that on which it's traded. So then you have to click on it and you will receive more information. So you can add it to your watch list, but you have to log in then and add it to your watch list. And then the most important site, that's the Just ETF website. And I really like this website. The only thing that you need to make sure of is that when you go here, you don't have to make a login. When you log in, you have some extra features that are interesting as well, but you don't really need it. But you need to make sure that you are here in the right region and the right, um, yeah, right language. So when you click at it, on it, you can select your country. So you can choose it there, choose your language, and then say save. And when you do it, then you're always on the right region. And in this case, when you click Swiss, then you always receive all the ETFs that are listed on the SIX stock exchange. When you say you're from the UK, you will only receive the ETFs that are listed on the London Stock Exchange. So that's important that you know that. In this case, I looked up the Amundi MSCI World X Europe UCITS ETF, and this one, immediately the most important information, the total expense ratio is up here, that it's accumulating, not distributing, that it's a swap based one, and which I don't like, and then a fund size of 478 million. And then you get all these tabs, so it's all in one go, so you can just scroll down. But when you want to move to the next chapter, so from overview to chart, and you click there, you immediately move to this section. There are some parts missing here that you normally would receive when there is more information available, and that's the stocks where it's invests in. So that's not depicted here. So here you can see the chart, then you can see the basics information of the fund. So when it's inception date, the 18th of April, so we know that the index is older, and in Switzerland on the 6th, it was started on the 16th or the 15th of May of 2018, and the fund domicile is Luxembourg, and the fund provider is Amundi. And yeah, the tax status, that's also an important one. So Germany, that's Switzerland ESTV reporting. So that's when you declare your taxes that you have to report it. And then your performance. So year to date, up 2%. Since inception, 286.65% up, which is really great. And here you see year to date, it's up 2%. And on the SIX stock exchange, you saw it's only up about 1%. So I can show it. So when you go to this one here and you go to overview, here you see year to date change, it's only up 1%. So that's a discrepancy compared to the Just ETF website, but that's just because here it's it's noted in Swiss francs, but it's on the Xetra. So on the Xetra, it's noted in euro, and the calculation is made to Swiss francs because I said we are in Switzerland watching just ETF, and because of the drop of the euro compared to the Swiss franc, that's the discrepancy of 1%. Then you have the risk related to it, and here the 1 year rolling volatility. So when it's up to 30%, because of here, of course, the drop because of the COVID pandemic that started around February, March, which shot up the volatility. Now it's more or less normal, so it's moving between 12, 13 up to 23%, and you saw before it was the same. And then you see the different listings on the stock exchange. So you have ones from GetX, and you saw that also on the Cash website that there were multiple stock exchanges that are trading this fund. And the one on the SIX stock exchange actually trades in euro, but just ETF always makes the recalculation to Swiss francs, and etc. also euro. And here you can see the tickers. So Euronext, it's not given the FP or the PA immediately after the ticker, but you can look it up then in Bloomberg or the Reuters as well. And etc. is the G, just like on JETEX and the Stuttgart Stock Exchange, but for the Swiss Stock Exchange, it's the E. And another thing that's really important is that you have further information, and there you have similar investments. So you don't really have ones that track the MSCI X Europe. Here you have the MSCI World ETFs, and these two I already discussed in previous videos when I was talking about world ETFs from Europe that invest in the complete world and distribute a dividend. And when we go and look at the AHBC one, there you can see that there is also a tab for holdings. So the top 10 holdings, which are depicted here, and that's not there for the one from Amundi. So that's information that is missing from this website, and it's also from the other websites up till now you can't find it. So normally on Just ETF you are able to find it, but in this case for that ETF you don't have it. And there is another part, and that's the dividend part. And of course, because it's a cumulative one, you won't find this section on the ETF page from the Amundi ETF that we are looking at today. Then for Morningstar, another interesting website, but which is better when you subscribe, and it's 7 days free, but thereafter you have to pay. I always use the free version to do the research, and then I look up in detail on just ETF when I use Morningstar. And yeah, so I looked up the one that we are tracking today, and here you can see it finds 4. So Cash had 6, this one finds 4, and yeah, it's the last one. You can't actually see which stock exchange it originates from in this case, so you have to guess. And I I went over them all 4, and of course the one from Switzerland was the last one. And here you can see that it's the right ticker, so CE8E, and you have all the information. And sustainability rating, that's the thing for what I like the Morningstar site the most. You can find the sustainability rating for all the ETFs, but unfortunately you need to subscribe to get better information. So I think you can look up one or two ETFs a month and receive the information. But thereafter, yeah, you are blocked, so you can't see anything anymore. So here you see all stripes. So when you subscribe, you will receive all this. And I think it's a pity that the Just ETF website doesn't include this information. Probably they include it when you subscribe as well for the Just ETF website, but I don't know it because I'm not subscribed to it. And then, of course, you have the Amundi website itself. So in this case, I went to the Luxembourg website. You have to say that you're an individual investor or a professional investor to see it. It has to do with what you are. But when you do that and you click on all the cookie stuff and all the other annoying pop-ups that you get, you go to the website of the ETF. You can see here the performance year to date, it's only 0.7%, so not 1% and not 2%, but 0.7%. Also the management fee, the assets under management, of course, it's higher in euros than in in Swiss francs, but still, it's going up for this ETF. And here you have the kit and the prospectus. On the ETF website, you have it as well, so you can click this one. And here you have the documents, also the kit and the fact sheet. So you have the same thing on the Morningstar website. You can also go to Documenten and find the documents. So which is quite good here for the Morningstar website. So you can also see the year information and half year information from the Amundi website. So then you don't need to go to the Amundi website, in fact, to download it. But most of the time I do it. And when you look at the kit and then the prospectus, so this is the kit PDF. So key information document. It's only 3 pages, but it contains the most of the information that you need as a normal investor to know whether or not it's something you are interested in to invest in. When you want to have detailed information, you can go to the prospectus, and then you get all the funds of Amundi here in this document. It's 1021 pages long, but on page 97 it starts with the ETF that we are looking at today, and you can look at everything. And strangely enough, here as well, you don't get information about the the holdings in which it invests its money in. So that's why I also included the MSCI World X Europe Index. So you type in the index that it is following, and you type it in Google, you click search, and the first link, you click on it, and you receive this. And it's also a 3-page fact sheet that you receive, and you see how it is performing compared to the MSCI World and the ACWI index. So it's performing relatively good, and that's because European stocks, they haven't been be performing that great the past few years. And I think that's because a lot of investors are putting their money towards America. And then, of course, the European companies don't really get the support and the price support of their stocks. And yeah, the the profits are there where the money flows to. So I think it's important for European investors to also invest money in Europe itself. On GetQuinn, when you look there at all the portfolios that pass, 90% of the portfolios consist of American stocks. and only 10% of the stocks that you see are actually from Europe itself. And then they say, yeah, there's where the money is. No, that's where the money flows to. So that's just a remark of me. But here on the second page, which is really interesting, is in fact the information that should also be included on the Just ETF website, and that's the top 10 holdings. So in fact, it are the 10 same as you have in the holdings of the EHBC MSCI World ETF. So where is it here? Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Alphabet, Meta, Alphabet, Tesla, United Health, and Eli Lilly. So it's more or less the same. Alphabet A, Alphabet C, Tesla, Broadcom, JP Morgan Chase. So yeah, it's all the biggest companies of the S&P 500 are of course here included, and also the country weights, which is also normally depicted on the ETF, so countries and the sectors. That's also here depicted on the fact sheet. So you can definitely find the information that you need on the websites of the index providers itself. And then let's go back to the presentation. So what do I think about the sites? So for the SIX stock exchange, I think it's a really good site. So it gets a double plus. The Euronext stock exchange, it only gets one plus because I think it's a bit clunky, a bit more clunky than the SIX stock exchange. The Yahoo Finance site, it gets a plus because it's not that well supported as for the American stocks. So it could be better for European stocks. The market screener one, it gets a minus because it's really annoying to work with it, with all the pop-ups coming up all the time to make that you subscribe. When it wouldn't be the case all the time, those pop-ups, the market screener would be better, but only being able to look up one stock every month or two stocks, I think, that's too few. When you subscribe, I think it's rather great because it contains a lot of information, and also the news related to the stock and ETF is depicted. The cash website, I really like it here in Switzerland. The cash website from Belgium, I also really like. Then Just ETF, yeah, I don't need to say more. It has a triple plus. It's the best you can get for me. The Just ETF, it's a free website, contains all the information that you need. So I'm a big fan of Just ETF. Morningstar, when you don't subscribe, so it's a plus because it still has good information. When you subscribe, it would receive double plus, but because it also contains the ESG score, it receives for me a triple plus. And the Just ETF website, when it would be so kind to include the ESG score, it would receive for me 5 pluses, because then it would be exceptionally good, that website. And then the fund itself, yeah, the fund itself, it should be okay. The only thing that I don't like about Amundi is that they don't include the information about which stock that they actually invest in. For the funds of BNP Paribas, for example, when you look at the half-year results, it's probably the same for Amundi, but I didn't open the PDFs. There you can look at all the holdings where the ETF is investing in. Also for the mutual funds, that's the case. So I hope it's the case for Amundi itself, but now at the first glance, I'm not that fond of the site of Amundi. And then the index, yeah, it's informational, and you get a fact sheet, and there is the basic information that you need for the index. And yeah, they don't want to give too much information, of course, because when they give too much information, the market, the ETF providers don't need to buy the information about the index. They can just always go and look it up. So it's normal that they just give basic information. But still, Amundi is better than the index itself. And as a conclusion, just ETF, my favorite one. SIX Stock Exchange, my second favorite one. And if I would subscribe to something, it would be to Morningstar in order to get the ESG scores for all the things that I want to invest in, because the ESG score, it's important for the future. Although momentarily it's still all over the place, and you can't really uh, yeah really put your finger on the thing whether or not it's really good for the environment. When an ETF says it's ESG in its title, it doesn't always mean that it has a great ESG score. It just means that it has a slight better ESG score than all the other ETFs that invest in the same index circle. So they just choose the better companies, but not the best companies. So yeah, ESG score. We should invest more in ESG scored companies, good ESG scored companies. But up till now, it's still yeah a bit on the bad side. I don't know how I need to say it. I said before that I need to make a video about it, but I think it's really complicated. It's just a feeling that I have about ESG scores that yeah, you should have firms in ETFs that have totally high ESG scores, but most of the times it's not the case. So you have some firms that are really great, but they don't have enough firms, so they include worse and worse and worse firms. And okay, it's an incentive for other firms to improve as well, and a lot of firms are trying to improve, but I think ETFs should really put the bar higher for the firms that they still include in ETFs that have an ESG label. So that's my thought about that. And with that being said, thank you for watching this video, and see you on the next video on my YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. Notifications, it's not that necessary. I post normally every week a video, at least one. This week it's my second video this week, and yeah, I will try to continue like I'm doing now. And if you like this kind of content, please leave a comment down below as well. And thank you for your attention, and see you on the next video on my YouTube channel. Bye!